Good morning, my name is Lorrie. Welcome to my channel. We are quilters. Today is the last Friday that I will be filming here at the cabin for a while. And actually, as you are watching this, I am in the car on my way back to my West Virginia sewing room. So it is a sad and sorry day. There's nothing on the board there, but I do have some block finishes to show you. They are all packed up and ready for travel. So let's get started with the block parade. So some of the block parade is outside. Last week I finished up the September 2024 weather blocks. I have them assembled for you, and I took them out into the fresh air to take a picture. I also added it to the July and August blocks. I had to hang them on the clothesline. This is going to be a long quilt. Remember, this is only a fourth of this quilt. These will be on the back. I made a couple of the blocks for the Hail Block of the Month for the Quilt Guild here. Here is my September Schoolhouse block. I think it needs a bell applique added to it. And here is the October block for the pumpkins. We don't have the pattern for November or December yet. Those will be coming eventually. And last but not least, I have the blocks from Monday to show you that I finished up. Here is the one that we did together. And here is another one. And here is the final block from Monday. Next week we up what we are doing with that eyeball shape. I hope you join me on Monday. Topic number 2 is found a friend or a place. Last week I showed you I shared some links that viewers had sent. And the week before that, I showed you the tunnel of trees here in Michigan. This week, it is a very relevant topic. I do watch some weather on YouTube. I watch a channel called Max Velocity. Of course, everything is always, there's going to be bad weather. Of course there's going to be weather. We have a 100% chance of weather every day. He does show very good maps, and his show is in the morning, 10 to 12 minutes a day. He does some live storm coverage if you're into that kind of thing. I personally like looking at the maps that he shares with me. And sometimes, based on the way things are going, it matches, like all weather, and sometimes it doesn't. For example, the snow that he has been talking about for the past 2 or 3 days seems to have slowed down and may or may not appear at all. It might just stay in Canada. Who knows? Check out his station. There are several others like him, but he is the one that I watch. I hope you enjoy Max Velocity to get some weather. Topic number 3. What kind of things have I been up to? Well, I have been trimming some of the little bonus half square triangles, and I am going to use those to make some blocks out of that, inspired by, not necessarily out of, but inspired by that 400 block book that I will show you down in Literary Corner here in a few minutes. That book does not have 4-inch blocks in it, but some of those 4-inch blocks we've made in the ancient past have been 4-inch blocks with just the same block. So I have been trimming and trimming and trimming, and I am taking home a box of little trimmed half square triangles just so I can make some more blocks out of them, and they really are a bonus. They aren't a bonus if you're not using them. Well, I've been talking about packing things up. So I have put away all the fabrics in the bins. They all have a dryer sheet or two stuffed in with them, and they have lids that snap shut. Honey even helped me sort some trims. At one point, I loaned the bag of trims to my neighbor for a project, hoping that she would use some of them up, and they multiplied. She added to them. Thank you, Cheryl. And so I sorted them from a big hunkin' bag of stuff into this 3-tiered container. And wow, now I can find the ribbons separate from the laces. And the last layer is miscellaneous things. So honey has been a big help getting everything ready. But it is so sad seeing the empty bins and empty shelf at the end of every season here in Michigan. Topic number 5 is a short one today. I may have already shown you this. I picked it up a couple weeks ago at a thrift store. It is a large panel, and we are going to talk about using panels in making quilts. We talked about that probably a month or more ago, and some of you chimed in and said that you would love to have some tips or thoughts about it. And I'm glad to hear that I am not the only one that has a big collection of panels. So when we get back to West Virginia and I have a drawer full of jungle type fabrics, we will be making this into a quilt. Topic number 6, challenges. Last week we talked about choosing fabrics. And I pulled out the color wheel and we talked about the dye lot dots down the side of fabric. And I heard back from a few of you, and I'm glad to know that you all choose fabric just the way I do. That sometimes it starts out as a very organized plan, and other times, well, not so much. And I am a great pull it out and put it in a bin, and it takes me probably a week to gather things up. And then when I start looking at that bin, oh, it's got way too much stuff. I could make 10 quilts for the amount of fabric I have pulled out. So then I have to pull some of the stuff out of that bin and put it back. And that's where the chaos really begins. Put it away. So I was glad to hear, and not very many people use the color wheel as their source of inspiration. I like looking at the color wheel, and I like thinking about the color wheel, and I even have a book that talks about choosing fabrics based on the color wheel, but I do not think I have ever actually done that. So I was glad to hear I am not the only one. Another topic for challenges. This year, for the first time in the 5 years we have been coming and going, I am leaving projects here in Michigan on purpose. Not very many, not very big ones, but I am leaving some things behind that I do not think I will actually work on in West Virginia. And I have plenty of projects there to work on already, including getting some quilting done so I can finish up quilts and give them to people. Topic number 7, Literary Corner. Here is the book of 400 blocks in 20 minutes or less. I hope you enjoy as I flip through the book very quickly. I promised you last week that I would show you this 400 quilt blocks to sew in 20 minutes or less. It is copyright 2003 by the American School of Needlework. I have never seen this book before, so it was worth $2 plus the senior discount, so $1.40 or so. I love this little clock. It's a sewing machine. That is so adorable. Anyway, let's get started taking a look at it. I am going to cover some information up because I don't want to infringe on their copyright. There are other sources like this that I've shown you before, the set of cards with blocks and some other things. So if we take a look here, it has the drawn out block and an actual block that was made. And it shows stitch and flip corners, and it talks about techniques for half square triangles. This is in the 20-minute block section, and these are a little more complex, and they are numbered. They do not give the names of the blocks. Let me flip to... So these ones have more complex pieces, more stitch and flips, and we have made some of these blocks. Let me find one more. Oh, I love the graphic nature of this page. So each block has, and now we're into the 15-minute blocks because they don't have as many triangles, but each block has a 6, a 9, and a 12-inch option. And as I'm looking at this, sometimes I think that there should be a 4-inch option, a 10-inch option, but these are the sizes that they have given for every block in every colorway. Now, let me fast forward to I think that these two blocks would be great scrap busters because you could make each quadrant here a different colorway and put them all together, and they look fantastic no matter what colors you use, just like the block that they made, the real block that they made. And they even use different colors of background, like a peachy color, a tan color, purple, and blue. I think this would be a great scrap buster too, but with points that are the same color as, with geese that are the same color as the half square triangles, and made into geese instead of half square triangles. Just a thought. You may see those blocks again in a different size than what they list. And this book in the back, let me flip past a bunch of these so you can see them at a quick rate. The actual blocks. And there are many. Oh, and there's even 10-minute blocks. I can't imagine actually making a log cabin block in 10 minutes. But, you know, it could happen because you have to press between each round that you add. Now, I can imagine making these blocks in 10 minutes. And these blocks, very simple. And some of them are, these are almost the same block. And there's general directions in the back and how to lay things out. And then they show some example quilts out of 2 blocks and another example quilt out of 2 blocks. And somewhere in there it talks about, oh, if you use a 16 patch, then the alternate block should be a 16 patch, 9 patch and 9 patch. This one is a 9 patch and a 16 patch, so it has a different movement to it. And an Indian puzzle is what they call this one, which is actually the same block. This one has the same block. And look at that. Same block, broken wheel, assorted pinwheels, 2 different blocks, 2 different blocks, whirling pinwheels, star diamonds, interlocked. I like the look of this one because it looks like it's woven. Pinwheels and tulips, diamond pinwheels, swirling whirligigs. And at first glance, this looks like, oh, it's all the same thing. No, it's just the way the color placement is. It's 2 separate blocks. Jagged pinwheels, pinwheel in a square. I like this shape. And last, stars and pinwheels. So this book, if you have it in your collection, drag it out, dust it off, and make some blocks. 20 minutes or less per block. That's not a whole lot of time to invest in a quilt top. I hope you enjoyed this little presentation. See you in the next segment. Because I am filming this so early in the week, I didn't give you all a chance to contribute, but I do have a contribution from my sister. While they were making my great niece's Halloween costume, my sister that cooks sewed the costume. It is absolutely adorable. And my brother-in-law, my sister at one time thought about being a quilter, and she does have a cutting mat and a rotary cutter, and so he was cutting out the wings for the bat costume. And as he was doing it, my sister said, he kept saying, I see Lorrie do this all the time on We Are Quilters, because my great niece loves to watch my show every morning before she goes to preschool. So here is Sadie being cute for Halloween in her costume that was cut out by my brother-in-law and sewn by my sister, the sister that cooks. Thank you for sharing your pictures with us. Well, now that we are completely finished filming our last episode here, so you can watch it, I need to pack away my portable studio and take it to West Virginia so that I can see you next week. However, Monday and Wednesday of next week have already been filmed, and they are up there and out there for you to see, so I can unpack all this mess when I get home. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe and warm, especially if Max is right from the weather station here at YouTube.